/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson from Lincoln Public Schools on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, well, welcome back to 93.7 The Ticket. This is Bigger Than the Score. This is Peter Ferguson from Peter Ferguson BHS LLC, and joined here by Harrison, as they always say, on the ones and twos, producing the show, so I greatly appreciate it. I think, as you heard earlier with the Jay Foreman, it's still raining outside, Harrison, so I know you haven't gotten a chance to peek outside.
Yeah, I always get curious because it's just, we've been like in a monsoon lately, it feels like. So I'm always curious. I'm like, how much rain are we getting out there still? But it's coming down pretty good yet. And everyone out there, I don't know if the roads are hydroplaning, but drive safe. And again, we have a full show ahead here. So if you guys want to join in, be sure to do so. 402-464-5685, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 951. So again, be sure to put in your guys' input. And we did just talk Husker football. So if you want to catch that, be sure to go ticketfm.com or YouTube, listen to Jay Foreman Inside the Huddle, and catch up on any of that.
Well, awesome. Well, hey, as you said, we've got a full show, and we're going to do something a little bit different on the format today and just get right into it, because we've got some really special guests. We've got an individual that means a great deal to me, and I want to introduce them and give them the majority of the time. And so I want to introduce our guests today. We've got two in-studio guests. We got scholar Lariah Clay, who is here, and she's just out here rocking that orange and doing her thing and got the smile. And then we've got scholar Evelyn Ungary, and Evelyn is a young lady who just, once you hear from them, is going to throw it down. And then we've got I was going to say a young man, but that's what he is, a young man that is zooming in, Mr. Keith L. Brown, Mr. I Am Possible. And I'm not going to do everything justice right on the introduction, but I'm going to let him go ahead and say a little things. But first off, I've got to say he's nationally and globally known as Mr. I'm Possible. He's a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award winner. He is one of the most often requested speakers in the country, a frequent guest on iHeart, Sirius, Radio 1. He will also be a frequent guest on 93.7 The Ticket, most requested as well. He takes on masses from impossible to it's possible, and finally enhancing the I'm Possible. I met Mr. Brown 15 plus years ago at the National Youth at Risk Conference. He hails from Georgia. He's in Wisconsin right now. And I just want to give a shout out and say hello, good morning. And I'm appreciative he's here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. GOODJOB. Good job, good job. Listen, I'm delighted, ignited, and excited to be on 93.7 The Ticket. I got my ticket. Listen, I got my ticket. When I'm on 93.7 The Ticket, it's like I'm in a skybox. It's like I'm in a skybox. I got Honorable Harrison. I got Purposeful Pete. I got those two soaring scholars. And listen, we're going to have a great show. It's bigger than the score. I just need everybody to know it's bigger than the score. It's bigger than the score. It's not just the score. It's how we play the game of life. It's how we conduct ourselves when we're down. It's how we persevere. It's how we're resilient. It's how we live our purpose. So at the end of the day, everybody focuses on the score, but it's bigger than the score. It's how you play the game. So I'm excited to be here. I'm ready to get rocking. I'm ready to get rolling. Equity matters, baby. Equity matters. Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
But like I said, we just need to go ahead and change the promo and the opening from here on moving forward.
I'm ready to run through a wall. I'm ready to have a good morning. Let's go.
Hey, I like that. I like how we did that. It's how you play the game. Yeah. It's how you play the game. So always great. Hey, we're going to start off real quick. Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you hail from, and love the attire as well.
Keith L. Brown, known nationally and internationally as Mr. I'm Possible, and also known as Uncle Keith to all of those scholars out there. I live in the great state of Georgia, raised in Queens, New York. So I do claim Georgia and New York as my home. I'm a professional speaker. I'm an advocate. I'm a family and youth advocate. I'm an author. I work in government affairs. But at the end of the day, I'm a servant leader. At the end of the day, I have the nerve to serve. I feed the need to lead. And listen, we're on our back to school tour right now. So last week we were in Alabama and Mississippi. We're in Wisconsin right now, so shout out to African Heritage Inc. Shout out to the great state of Wisconsin. We're going to have a back to school rally today where we're going to empower thousands of young people and families. And so this is the work that I do. This is who I am. This is what I do. It's all about purpose. And I'm just so excited to be here on Bigger Than the Score this morning, Purposeful Pete, just to join you for the great work that you're doing. So I'm honored to be here. It's not so much about who I am, but it's about the work that I do. So to all of your listeners out there, let's make sure that we have the nerve to serve. We feed the need to lead. And when it comes to our young people, each and every day, we need to understand this as it relates to our young people. We motivate, we elevate, we educate, then they graduate. Let me say that again. We motivate, we elevate, we educate, then they graduate.
Wow. And I think you laid the groundwork and the intro for who you're talking about when you talked about it's about who you are and what you do and scholars. And so we've got Evelyn in the studio and a Lariah, and I'm going to ask Evelyn, share a little bit about just who you are. Have you always lived here? Where have you gone to school? And who's in your family?
My name's Evelyn Ungary. I go to Park Middle School, and I was born in Grand Island, but I've lived in Lincoln for most of my life. And I have my mom, dad, my younger sister, she's about 2, and then my 2 younger brothers, 6 and 10.
Now, I always say you got to give a shout out and drop some names now. Drop some names. Who are your folks? I know we got to call them Sir, Bam, Mom, and Dad, but I'm going to give you permission to go ahead and drop their first names because they deserve that.
My dad's name's Angelo. My mom's name's Randa. My brother's name, the 10-year-old is named Cassiano. The 6-year-old's named Miles, and the 2-year-old girl's named Angeline.
Ooh, some beautiful names all the way around. And Lariah, what about you?
I was born in Lincoln, but my mom, she grew up in Illinois. I went to Belmont Elementary School, and now I'm at Goodrich Middle School. And it's my 3 brothers, me and my sister, my mom, my dad. My mom, her name's Ayana. My dad's name is Pat. And then my youngest brother, his name is Khalil. And then my twin brother is named LeBrian. And then my older brother is named Keyshawn, and my sister's name is Amaya.
So everybody got a full household. We got the shout outs. Mr. Brown, one of the things we always talk about, we've had a couple that forgot to drop mom's name. And so we make sure mom gets mentioned, because if mom don't get mentioned, we got to lock the door because somebody's in here going to end up missing. But with that, and they talked a little bit, and you talked about having that nerve to serve, and scholars and individuals across the country are going back to school. Talk about the importance, and I know it seems trivial, but the importance of young people. Talk about that importance, not only to you, but in general to this country.
Well, first of all, before I do that, let me give a GOODJOB, good job to leading Lariah and us in excelling Evelyn. Listen, I am so proud of the 2 of you, because I remember when you all were in elementary school. During the pandemic. You were leaders in elementary school. You're going to be leaders in middle school. And Purposeful Pete, that's an example of the power of our children and young people. These 2 young ladies of excellence, along with others who are the foundation of We Will Not Be Silent. And I know you're going to talk about that. So these 2 individuals, along with 6 others and others, led a movement during the pandemic. They led a movement when they were in elementary school. And so what I need all of the listeners to understand, and all the parents to understand, while your children are children, while your young people are young people, they do matter. They do matter. So not only are they going to do chores around the house, they have chores to do when they go to school. And one of those chores is to learn and to lead. But they have chores in society, and that's being a positive example for their peers. And these 2 young ladies in studio today are classic examples of servant leaders at a young age. They led while they were in elementary school. I'm talking about 5th grade. And now, a couple of years later, they're in middle school and they're still leading. So I want the parents to know your children are not too young to be leaders. They're not too young to change the trajectory of this country from negative to positive. And yes, I want them to have fun. Yes, I want them to be on TikTok and making positive videos and playing outside and enjoying their peers. But I also want them to know that they are excellent scholars as well. So every day, they're going to create a path for math. They're going to form an alliance with science. They're going to become buddies with social studies. They're going to have a heart for language arts. And every day they're going to be leaders. And every day they're going to change the trajectory of this country. These 2 young ladies and others did that. So parents, please understand that your children and young people play a vital role in this country. They will not be silent. They will speak up. And we encourage you to do this. We encourage you to do this, parents. Don't just give them permission, empower them. That's what Purposeful Pete talks about all the time. That's what Bigger Than the Score is all about. If we want our children and young people to truly be leaders, we have to not just give them permission, we have to empower them. And you may say, well, Mr. Impossible, what's the difference? To give permission means that you're letting your children and young people know they can do something. You're just telling them, sure, you can go outside. Sure, you can go over your friend's house. Sure, you can go to the mall. That's fine. You're giving them permission. But when we give our children and young people, when we empower them, we give them the authority to be great. We give them the authority to be leaders. We give them the authority to change this world. So giving them permission, that's fine, but that's going to limit them. But when we empower them, we give them the authority to be great. And that's what these young ladies are doing right now. Because their parents gave them the authority to be great, because they empowered them, this is the result. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see the example of these 2 young ladies on the program today. And parents, I encourage you this year, don't just give them permission, but empower them and give them the authority to be great.
Wow. And I think what you said, and we'll talk about a couple of components, because I definitely want to talk about your connection to these scholars, but I want to pose the question that you put forward about excellence. And when you heard, Mr. Brown talk about, what excellence is and what that looks like to you, what is excellence? What is excellence as a scholar to this community? What does excellence look like to you?
Like your own standards, like how you raise yourself, how you think you should be. You don't want to have too low standards. You don't want to have too high standards. You want to have in the middle, or you want to have high standards, because what you put your mind to, you can do it. You can always do it.
Without question. And Lariah, when you're not silent, what does excellence look like?
I think excellence for me is, I think, being proud of myself for a lot of things I do. Like, I don't know, just being proud of myself for the things that I do. I think that makes the excellence of me. But yeah.
And I think a couple of things you talked about, and Mr. Brown, you talked about that of just, not being silent, not being quiet. And I think for those that don't know, I want you to share a little bit about your connection with these scholars. You briefly touched on it during COVID. My connection with you is from 15 years ago. I think when I started at Lincoln Public Schools, I went to a conference in Savannah, Georgia. You tongue-in-cheek kid, but it's probably the truth. I pestered you after a session. I remember a component within your session that you talked about, and I still you utilize to this day. You utilized a clip of Monster Cody. I don't know if you remember that. And he was talking, about, if you don't know who Monster Cody, look him up. I won't get into it, but Bloods and Crips and started the organization. And I remember they talked to his mom. It was a clip that you showed about his mom was speaking, and she goes, I told him, I knew he was just so compulsive that he was going to be good at whatever he did. If it was football, if it was business, if it was math, he was going to be good. He was going to be the best at whatever he did. And he ended up, putting his efforts towards, developing the Bloods and the Crips. And he by far was one of the best. I'm not applauding him by any means, but the best gangster, in the world to this day. And you talked about just that effort and that being the best at whatever you're committed to doing. And so talk a little bit just about your connection to these scholars, our connection, and how they have transformed or moved you in some of your work.
Well, first of all, let us go back 15 years. And when we go back 15 years, we understand that excelling Evelyn and leading Lariah weren't even born yet. Let's talk about how deep that is. They weren't even born yet, and yet Purposeful Pete and I were laying a foundation when we met. And you did pester me. Yes, you did. You were a pest. You were a pest. Yeah, let me say that. Yes, you did. But you were the pest that more of us need to be in the world, because you pestered me about being engaged with your young people in Lincoln, Nebraska and beyond. You pestered me by telling me about how great your young people were, the work that matters, the work that you're doing. And that touched my heart. That touched my heart. And here it is 15 years later, we reconnected during the pandemic. Let's talk about how powerful that is during the social unrest, during George Floyd. We know that name well. We know that name. When we echo that name, when we say that name, immediately I'm thinking about his own daughter, who I know is going to grow up to be so powerful, so powerful. And so we talk about these young people that you introduced me to. Belmont Elementary School, the track scholars, and the program that you are one of the leaders for, one of those surrogate fathers, one of those trainers, coaches, one of those mentors having the nerve to serve. And to meet these young people virtually over a digital platform during the pandemic, where we engaged them. And let me say that was in March of 2020. Right? Yes. That's in March of 2020. In March of 2024, that will be 4 years. Typically, young people graduate from high school in 4 years. Typically, they graduate from college in 4 years. And so what we understand is that when you blink, 4 years will go by. 4 years have gone by. Almost 4 years have gone by since my initial meeting with these track scholars, and then coming out to Lincoln and being able to engage them in person. These two scholars, like I said, I remember when they were just mere children, but I never saw them just as children, because even when I saw them as children, they were doing the work. They were academic scholars. They were talking about social justice. They were talking about educational justice. They were speaking loud. They were speaking proud. They were involved in the community. It was so powerful. And so my connection with you, Purposeful Pete, led me to these young people. I think it's very important that adults, that we are intentional parents, that we are intentional educators, youth advocates, children and youth advocates. If you work with children and young people, at the end of the day, I feel that as adults, we need to be intentional about who we spend our time with, the other adults we spend our time with, because they should be working towards uplifting our young people. And that was our connection, Purposeful Pete. And that's why we're this close today, because you led me to these scholars that have changed my life. I talk about them everywhere I go. I want you young ladies to know I talk about you and your peers everywhere I go. Right? Everywhere I go, I talk about you. And so the connection now is that here they are leading now. And let me go to something that Lariah said. I think this is so critical. Lariah said that excellence is being proud of yourself. We must teach our children and young people to be proud of themselves, and we must applaud the great work that they do. Many times when I go into schools and communities, young people say, well, Uncle Keith, the only time the adults focus on us is when we get in trouble, or they only focus on the kids that get in trouble. And so when we do well, nobody focuses on us. So we might as well get in trouble. So parents, that lets me know, and educators and leaders, that lets me know we have to focus on these young ladies and other young people who are doing great work. We have to be more intentional about applauding them, about encouraging them so that they will be proud of themselves. Because at the end of the day, if our young people can be proud of themselves, they are more likely not to end up like a Cody who was looking for acceptance in all the wrong places. If we can teach our young people to be proud of themselves, then they can link with other young people. They can link with other young people, and they can have this positive impact on all of their peers. That's very important. So I'm connected to these young people for life. Young people, I'm connected to you all for life. This is what it's about. I love what she said. We have to be proud of ourselves. That's excellent. But here's the key for all children and young people out there. In order for you to be proud of yourself, you have to do something that's going to make you and your family proud. So guess what? Somebody might be smarter than you. Somebody might be faster than you. Somebody might jump higher than you. Somebody might have more talents than you do, but no one is better than you. That's the key. Some may be smarter, some may be faster, some may, have more gifts and talents, but nobody is better than you. So I want all children and young people, as you go into this school year, understand that you matter. Understand that you have a gift, and we want you to be proud of yourselves. So, Purposeful Pete, before we go to the next question, let me do this with my scholars because I know they remember this. So, y'all ready, scholars? Y'all remember this? Y'all remember? We're going to start with I love myself. On 3, we're going to do all 4. We're going to do all 8 affirmations right now. We're going to do all 8 right now on the count of 3. All right.
We're going to have to teach Harrison. You're teaching Harrison in studio.
Harrison, you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. I love myself.
I
believe in myself.
Proud
Proud of myself.
I'm
a genius. I can.
I
will.
will.
I must. And I got this. All right, so watch this. So I'm gonna do it real fast, and then young ladies, I want y'all to do it. I love myself. I believe in myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm a genius. I can. I will. I must. And I got this. 1, 2, 3, go.
I love myself. I believe in myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm a genius. I can. I will. I must, and I got this.
Yes. So now, guess what just happened, y'all? Harrison, guess what happened? Purposeful Pete, guess what just happened? Guess what these 2 promising princesses just did? Uncle Keith just put them on the spot. They had no idea I was going to do that. They had no idea. So guess what? They didn't say, oh, we need time to plan. They didn't say we need time to practice. They didn't say we're scared. They didn't say, oh, no, we can't do that. See, these young ladies understand that if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Parents, give your children the ability. Give them room to be great. Teachers, give them room to be great. Everyone, let's give our young people room to be great. They just did 8 affirmations that children and young people can learn all over Nebraska, all over the state, all over the country. I love that. That's what this connection has done. Now, I started out as the teacher, as the coach. Now they're coaching me. GOODJOB, good job, good job.
You know what? If you just joined us, you're on 93.7 The Ticket, Bigger Than the Score. You are definitely going to have to replay. If for some reason your coffee didn't kick in, it should have kicked in the first 2 minutes. But we're joined here by Mr. Keith Brown, Mr. I'm Possible, hailing from Georgia as well as New York, but he's streaming in from Wisconsin. We got Scholar Evelyn and Scholar Lariah. A question that you've really hit on, and you talked about relationships. And for me, one of my big things is relationships matter. Relationships absolutely matter. And so, Lariah, Evelyn, speak about why do relationships absolutely matter? Whether it's your peers, whether it's the connection with Mr. Brown, whether it's with adults, why do relationships matter? Lariah, we'll start with you.
I think relationships matter because there's someone that is always going to uplift you. And I think that it's always nice to have someone that's by your side, and I think it's important because once, I don't know, it just feels good having someone next to your side. They're proud of you, they're happy for you, and they're leading you in the right path. But I don't know.
I love what you talk about, and we always talk about in relationships. And Evelyn, I want to hear from you in a quick second, where we talk about, hey, you always got to have somebody behind you, somebody that's supporting you behind you. But this is the fact of the matter is, sometimes you need that person on your side. Yeah. Sometimes you need that person in front of you. And so relationships is surrounding you. It's not just somebody that's always behind you. Evelyn, what about you? Why do relationships absolutely matter?
I feel like I want to add to yours. Like when you're younger, like you want someone in front of you, someone to lead you. When you get older, you want someone by your side to like guide you. And when you get like I don't know, your age.
You know how she was real subtle with that. She said, when you get, well, like your age, just say seasoned. When you get seasoned, but I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Like you want someone behind you to support you in everything you do. So I feel like the more you go forward, the more your supporter will support you more instead of lead you. And yeah.
I think I love how you preface it, because again, as a seasoned individual, Mr. Brown, myself, Harrison, we all need relationships. And I think we all go through seasons on what those relationships look like. So sometimes we need them in front. Sometimes we do need them on the side and in back. So I appreciate you acknowledging the fact that we need relationships just as much as our young people. Mr. Brown, why do relationships absolutely matter?
Well, first of all, before I even answer that question, I have a scholar here, and her name is Eveline. And I called Eveline several times during this broadcast, and I have to apologize to excellent Evelyn, because look, your name is spelled the same way as one of my scholars back in Georgia. I'm in Wisconsin now, and I'm so used to saying Eveline that I called you Eveline, and I have to apologize. And let me show you the power of relationships matter. Listen, what I'm doing now with Evelyn, adults did not do that to me when I was Evelyn's age. If an adult said something wrong to me, that adult did not apologize. See, I come from an era where adults did not apologize to children. Adults did not apologize to young people. That's the era that I came from. Talking about relationships matter now, parents. I came from an era where adults said to children, don't do as I do as I say do. And what I learned with my own son, I had to shift that. I had to shift that. My wife had to shift that. We had to shift that. We had to be intentional as parents, because I learned that out of fear, my son would do as I say do, but out of my example, he would do as I do. And so to all parents out there and to all adults out there, when it comes to children and young people, out of fear, they will do as we say do, but out of our example, they will do as we do. So if I want my son to be positive, I need to be positive. If I want excelling Evelyn and leading Lariah to be leaders, then I need to set the example as a leader. And if we really want our children to have character, and if we really want them to have empathy, and if we really want them to build positive relationships with their peers, when we are wrong as parents, we have to be willing to apologize to our children, apologize to our young people, sit down and let them know that I did not mean to yell at you. It was in the heat of the moment. I did not mean to yell at you. I'm upset about what you did, but I still love you. So I might not like what you did in school today. That was out of your character, but I still love you. That's a part of building relationships. When we build relationships with our children like that, they will feel safe to be able to come and talk to us. And then they don't have to seek out the wrong sources to talk to. So I want to start right there, Purposeful Pete. And to Promising Princess, Excelling Evelyn, Uncle Keith sincerely apologizes. Let me say this. Don't let anybody call you out your name, okay? Don't let anybody call you out your name. You know what I'm talking about, Lariah. And so that's what it is. It's about building those positive relationships where we encourage our young people to surround themselves with people who celebrate them and not people who tolerate them. People who celebrate them will applaud them when they make the honor roll. People who celebrate them will tell them, you don't need those opioids. Smoking that weed is not right. We don't need to be out here drinking. We don't need to be doing that. That's not what we need to be doing. Do you understand? Teaching our young people to build those positive relationships where they feel safe and comfortable with who they're surrounding themselves with. And so I think that's so very important, because at the end of the day, relationships mean everything. The reason I'm on 93.7 The Ticket, where I got my ticket, on a first-class radio station, first-class show, all right? 93.7 The Ticket. Listen, if you don't have your ticket, you can't get in the concert. If you don't have your ticket, you can't get in the game. If you don't have your ticket in life, you will never get access. So I'm encouraging you all, get your ticket. And your ticket starts with that education. It starts with leadership, character, empathy, equity, civility, all of that. So get your ticket. So this is what I'm talking about. Listen very carefully. At the end of the day, my relationship with Purposeful Pete Ferguson, that started in Savannah, Georgia at the National Youth Advocacy and Resilience Conference 15 years ago, before Lariah was born, before Evelyn was born. This is the result of positive relationships. So at the end of the day, we have to build relationships first. We can talk about mentorship, but that comes from relationships. We can talk about scholarship, that comes from relationships. We can talk about partnerships, that comes from relationships. We can talk about leadership, it all stems from relationships. So relationships are important, and I encourage everyone to build relationships with those individuals who share positive values to uplift our children and young people and uplift each other. So I encourage you two young ladies to be leaders this year, to build positive relationships, and to go in with the mindset that you love yourself, you believe in yourself, you're proud of yourself, and yes, you are geniuses. So not only do relationships matter, without positive relationships, it's going to be very difficult to accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish, because no one can do it alone. I can't do it without Pete. He can't do it without me. I can't do it without Evelyn. Evelyn can't do it without me. I can't do it without Lariah. Lariah can't do it without me. And so it takes all of us. It's collective. Individually, we can be good, but collectively, we'll be great.
Wow. Mr. Brown, I know you're going and you're in Wisconsin.
No, listen. No. Hold on. Listen. I just sent a text out. Because I'm doing this huge back to school rally. All right. We got a program this morning. We got a program coming up this morning in about the next 30 minutes. I'm supposed to be downstairs right now for a sound check, but I just sent my son Keon, who's our director of logistics. He's out there. I said, Keon, do the sound check, because I'm not ready to leave Evelyn yet. I'm not ready to leave Lariah yet. So do the sound check for me. So look, I'm going to be here to 8:45. All right, Harrison, is that all right, producer? I'm going to be here to 8:45. Look.
Right.
You listen, you can't get rid of me. So listen. Hey, Pete, you know why I'm staying? I'm not staying because of Harrison. I'm not staying because of Pete. I'm staying because of leading Lariah and excelling Evelyn. That's why I'm going to stay.
And that's going to be exactly what we want to do. So what we're going to do is we got to take a quick break, because I know Harrison's like looking at me. He's like, okay, legally, I got to go ahead and get something in real quick. We'll be back in about 4 minutes.
Yep. And
then we'll go ahead and we'll continue with you until 8:45. Will that work?
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. You're on 93.7 The Ticket, bigger than the score. We'll be right back right after these break.
Sunday morning. It's quiet, not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful. You pour yourself a cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum. When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club, or space club, and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? No, forget that. How about a margarita club? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge and join the best club in town. 10 flavors of margarita, like Maui Wow, burnt pineapple, and mango tango. Try all 10 of them and receive your own souvenir margarita glass. Make it your new Monday night tradition. $4 margaritas and $4 taco baskets. Grab the crew and head on over. Monday nights or any night. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Hey, you got any gum?
Yeah, check my backpack.
What's this?
Oh, that's naloxone. It can reverse an opioid overdose. I decided to always keep it on me after my friend almost died. It saved his life.
I'm so sorry. That makes me want to have it with me too.
You totally should. Check the pharmacy. It was actually really easy to get, and it's easy to use.
I definitely will. Thanks.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS. Aired with Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, call 988 for free, confidential, and compassionate support. On July 16th, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is transitioning to 988. There is hope. For 24/7 support, call, text, or chat 988.
Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids. First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Beep, beep, beep. Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I think it's just vapor. Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous. 5 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
What happens when students come to school every day on time and ready to learn? They improve academically, become more responsible, manage their time well, and learn the value of education. Whether your child is starting preschool or preparing to graduate, family support and a great attitude towards education is important. Your child come to school today ready to learn. Make this the best school year yet.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and the station.
Back to Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson, Lincoln Public Schools on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, fantastic. Welcome back to 93.7 The Ticket. This is Bigger Than the Score. This is Peter Ferguson with Peter Ferguson DHS LLC. And I will have to tell you, if you have missed the first 32 some minutes, you are definitely going to have to rewind. If you have been listening, you're going to want to rewind anyways. We are joined here in studio by Scholar Evelyn. I was going to say enthusiastic, exceptional, so many other things. Mr. Brown says it's so much better. And then leading Lariah, who are both middle school scholars. They're also both Emmy nominated. They have been Emmy nominated for their not only participation, but they're being the focus of a documentary, We Will Not Be Silent. If you have not had the opportunity to see that, please go to YouTube, type that in, We Will Not Be Silent. It's an LPS documentary that tracks their experience during 2020 as they put together a powerful, inspirational, but also meaningful just direct message about elevating their voice and the need for others to do the same. And then we're joined from Wisconsin by Mr. Keith L. Brown, Mr. I Am Possible. So I thank all of them for being in the space. When we get started, after we went to break real quick, I want both of you to share a couple things. We always ask each week advice that you would have for different groups. And so I want Mr. Brown to respond after he hears your advice. What's some advice that you would have for your peers? So Evelyn, start with you. Advice that if you had all your peers, friends sitting here in this audience, what's some advice that you would have for them?
Some advice that I would have is you actually should try on your schoolwork.
Even
though you think it's middle school, it's not gonna work out or whatever. It does matter. It really does matter. Trying your best is what matters. It's for your future. You will always have something that you want to do. And in middle school, in elementary school, it starts. You have to try. You can't just give up. You can't just think, oh, well, I don't like this. I don't want to do it. You have to try. There's going to be someone in your life that's going to push you. And you have to take that advice. And also, don't make trouble in school for attention. It's not cool and stuff like that. And for my parents,
advice you have for adults. What's some advice you have for adults? We'll just go through the whole circuit.
That if a child is not listening, then if they're not listening, take something away from them that they were not that they need, but they want a lot. And then when they start to act better and stuff like that, and really take that advice you're giving them and do better in school. And you can tell, because my mom always says, Evelyn, you're doing so good in school. Because every time I do good on a test or something, my school always calls and says how great I am and stuff like that. And I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the feedback and stuff like that. And my mom always praises me for that. So when someone does good, always praise them for that. And
that advice, and what's some advice you would have for educators as you get ready to go back in the building here this week for scholars across the country going in the building? From scholars' mouths, what's some advice that you would have for educators?
just like hold on, because like a lot of kids learn at different speeds and different rates. So like you want to be careful and you want to like enunciate and stuff like that, because a lot of kids, they don't really get what you're saying and they're not fast learners. I think I'm kind of a fast learner, but it takes me just some time to like congest that. So like be cautious of like their learning speed and stuff like that.
I love how you said hold on, but also recognize and affirm, everybody's ability where they're at that point in time. Lariah, I want to do the same with you. What's some advice that you would have quickly for your peers?
For school, I think everyone should stay in school, but I think that like our education is our passport to our future. So I think that get as much education as you can, because life is busy later, and there's a lot of people that growing up they didn't get a lot of education. So I think like take advantage of getting a good education.
What about adults? Advice you have for adults?
I would say like for adults that have like kids, I think that it's good to remain a healthy relationship with your kids, because I think just having a healthy relationship with your kids and just keeping positive, because I know a lot of adults go through a lot of stuff, and there's always people to help them. So, but like I said, a lot of adults go through a lot of stuff, but I think it's good to remain a healthy relationship with your kids, because at the end of the day, those are your kids, and they bring you joy. And I think that, yeah.
Good. And then last one, educators. Piece of advice you'd have for educators as you get ready to walk back into the building.
Yeah. Yeah, like everyone was saying, try your best in school. I think that that's really important, because there's a lot of young kids that when they grow up they want to be like some basketball players, and just do a lot of big things. But I think that education comes first before that.
So telling teachers or principals, what's one thing that you would tell them?
Probably to if there's ways to get, because like everyone was saying, a lot of kids learn in different ways. I think that if you allow kids to like get them some chances, get them ways to help them learn, because like a lot of kids learn differently. But I think that if principals or teachers can help kids find ways or find better ways for kids to learn, help them learn faster or easier, anything, I think that'll be good, because we go to school to learn. So I think that if you're going to school to learn, I think it's good that you have a easy way to learn. So
different ways. And so, Mr. Brown, after hearing that, the advice that they gave for peers, to their parents, to educators, just your thoughts and your take with from that.
First of all, GOODJOB, good job. Promising Princesses, that was amazing. I love what you said. I love when Lariah talked about having a positive relationship with your children, a healthy relationship with your children. That is powerful. And I want to encourage parents out here, because Lariah said that adults go through a lot. And as parents, we do go through a lot. Educators, adults, period, we go through a lot. And I want to encourage everyone today. I have this saying, don't lease your peace. And that simply means to lease means to give something away for a period of time. I want to say this to all of your listeners out there. This is very important. Don't give away your peace of mind. Protect your peace of mind. And as a family, protect your family's peace. And I think that's very important, because with my own son, as he was growing up, we had a family therapist. And we would check in with that therapist. And as a family, we protected our mental health, because mental health matters. And in so many communities, mental health is taboo. And mental health awareness is taboo. So I want to encourage parents this year, have more of those roundtable discussions as a family. Check in with your children. Find out how their day went. Talk about your day. If you had a bad day, talk to your children about that. You all should process that together. Watch fun shows as a family. Laugh together as a family. Watch inspirational shows as a family. Have that designated family night, right? Where you can just come together as a family. It doesn't have to be on the weekends. It might be on a Tuesday where you just watch a show together, pop some popcorn, love on each other as a family, and check in with each other. Because we have rough days as adults, but guess what? Our children and young people, they go through a lot as well. So we have to protect their social emotional wellness as well. And I say that in every school, please start out with social emotional wellness every single day. Before you go into the academic excellence, let's start off with social emotional learning. So I love what you said, Lariah. And then I love one of the things that Evelyn said was she talked about positive reinforcement. She talked about positive reinforcement. Yes, I thought that was so powerful, where we should applaud our children and young people when they do well. And I hear so many people saying, why should we applaud them? That's what they're supposed to do. Well, guess what, adults? You want positive reinforcement in your career. You want somebody to pat you on the back. You want somebody to applaud you. And so let's continue to give our children and young people positive reinforcement when they do well. And yes, let us understand that everyone learns differently. I was labeled special ed most of my life. So obviously I learned differently. I was weak in some areas. I was strong in other areas. But guess what? It took nurturing educators that worked with me, family members that worked with me, and helped me on the level where I was. So to all educators out there, let us do what Evelyn talked about. She talked about the different learning styles. She said we have to be patient. Everyone learns differently. I thought that was so powerful. I thought the answers that they gave were powerful answers. And once again, that goes back to children and young people matter. The advice they give matters. Their opinion matters. So let us not just hear them, let us listen. So I heard you all, and I'm going to take those messages across the country and across the world as I get back to traveling globally. I'm going to take your messages out there. I thought what they said was so powerful, not just for teachers or parents, but for adults in general. So thank you, young people, for leading us as adults. I heard you. I'm listening. You matter, and your opinions count.
Powerful all the way around. And so as we, prior to going, because I know we got to get another break, and I appreciate Mr. Brown extending his time here. What I'm going to ask each of you to do, I'm going to ask Lariah, I'm going to ask you, Scholar Evelyn, and Mr. Brown, I'm going to ask you to do this. I want you to give impromptu, because all of you have been on stages in front of thousands of individuals. And yes, these scholars have performed in front of hundreds of individuals, Harrison. They have impacted people overseas, across, I think, almost all 50 states. They have been on the Lincoln Playhouse stage. And so I'm going to ask you to give 30 seconds, a 30-second speech or a 30-second just kind of talk to either your younger or your future self. Okay. So 30 seconds to your younger or future self impromptu. What would you say? Evelyn, we're going to start with you.
I think I would ask I'll just do like half.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. 30 seconds.
So my younger self, what was like my favorite subject in school? Cause I actually never knew, because like when I was younger, I was like school. And I always wanted to do better. And for my older self, I think, did any of this matter? I know it did, but like, how did it impact my older self? Am I doing even better things now? Do I have my own talk show?
Wow.
Did I get into a good college? Did I grow up to be the person I always wanted to? Did I make my parents proud? Did I make all of my educators proud? Did I make myself proud? Am I excellent in my own eyes?
Wow, I love that ending statement. Am I excellent in my own eyes? Right there. Lariah, 30 seconds to your speech to your younger self or your future self.
Yeah, I think as a kid, I wish I would have took this advice as a kid. But I don't know. I think, well, a question for my older self, like everyone was saying, was, did I make myself proud? Because, there's a lot of things I want to be in life. And I think that if I continue to do what I'm doing, I'm going to be there. And I don't know, like,
I think fantastic what you just said again is that excellence, and am I going to be happy with what I'm doing when I'm at that point? When I'm at that point.
yeah. And another thing is to my older self is, will I hopefully have a good relationship with all my families, and keep doing what I'm doing, because I know there's a lot of people that they're good for a second, but then once they start to get older or I don't know, start changing and do other stuff that I don't know, that's like
all of
out of their league.
All of it powerful. Mr. Brown, I know we're running up to a break. You're at 30 seconds. Just, what would you say to your future self, or what do you want to say to just the audience that's listening?
Okay, 30 seconds real fast. To young Keith L. Brown, little special ed boy, the energy that you bring, the hype that you bring, wanting to bring solutions, always energetic. And people saw that as a negative, but that set the stage for you to do what you're doing now. So you're going to grow up to change lives. You're going to grow up to do something special, and you're going to grow up to be meaningful. And to my adult self, I would say to my future self, Keith L. Brown, Mr. Impossible, Uncle Keith, keep doing the work. The work that you're doing matters. It's building leaders. It's building scholars. It's building change agents. It's building legacy. And at the end of the day, Keith L. Brown, your future self, you want to build legacy, and you want your legacy to be that you taught young people to go from impossible to it's possible to I'm possible, and to have the nerve to serve.
Wow. Thank you. I know we got to get to a break quickly. How can people get in touch with you if they want to continue to follow or engage you on social media or enlist you for other services?
So Instagram is the biggest thing, right? So you can follow me on Instagram at Keith L. Brown _ KEITH, Keith L. Brown _ on Instagram, Keith L. Brown 1911 on Facebook and Twitter, Keith L. Brown 1911, Facebook and Twitter. And my website is keithlbrown.com. If you want to book me to come to your district, college or university, or your corporation, government agency, whatever, keithlbrown.com, KEITH Lbrown.com. So excited to have been here on Bigger Than the Score, 93.7 The Ticket, with empowered, excelling Evelyn, leading, lifting Lariah, purposeful, powerful Pete, helpful, honorable Harrison. Man, GOODJOB, good job, good job.
Awesome. Thank you. I know we got to jump to a break. Sir, appreciate it. 93.7 The Ticket, Bigger Than the Score.
If you struggle with joint pain, there's good news. You don't need surgery to get back to full health. South Point Medical and Aesthetics offers breakthrough non-surgical options for treatment of moderate to severe joint pain. Our patients experience little to no downtime from our procedures, and the results are remarkable. They've had 14 years of successful treatments in 35 states because of an effective word-of-mouth traffic. Learn more about how you can get lasting results for joint pain today at southpointmedical.com or call 402-323-8400.
The Nebraska Lottery's Powerball First Millionaire of the Year promotion is back until August 14th. Buy a Powerball with Power Play and Double Play ticket, and you could be one of 15 winners of $1,000. You'll also be entered to win a trip to New York City for New Year's Eve and a chance at $1 million. So visit your nearest Nebraska Lottery retailer today and buy a ticket for a chance at $1,000. Powerball top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
The Nebraska Lottery offers up a lot of fun with a variety of daily games like Nebraska Pick 3, 2x2, and My Day. How much fun, you ask? Think of it like riding a roller coaster, sitting next to your favorite rock star, or discovering a bunch of cash under your seat.
Yeah!
Sound fun? Then play today.
Nebraska Pick 3, 2x2, and My Day top prize odds vary by game.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, call 988 for free, confidential, and compassionate compassionate support. On July 16th, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is transitioning to 988. There is hope. For 24/7 support, call, text, or chat 988.
Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like it's a great way to make your kid.
Now, make a face smell something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The Nebraska State Veterans Homes are here to serve veterans, their spouses, surviving spouses, and Gold Star parents. Join your fellow veterans and their families at one of our homes in Bellevue, Kearney, Norfolk, or Scottsbluff. With a sliding scale to determine your financial contribution, an excellent clinical team, and plenty of fun activities, our homes are the perfect retirement choice. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/homes. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson from Linden Public Schools on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back to the closing minute. 93.7 The Ticket, Bigger Than the Score. Really just appreciate Harrison on the board. We've had in-studio guests, Scholar Evelyn and Scholar Lariah, as we close out. We're also going to get a group picture here with Mr. Keith L. Brown, who's in Wisconsin, streaming in. Last question. What is your, Evelyn, what's a goal, Scholar Evelyn, what's the goal that you have for yourself?
A goal that I have for myself is that I like helping people and like talking to people, especially like younger kids, because they're so like nice sometimes. And I want to be like a pediatrician when I grow up and like a doctor for kids.
Awesome.
And help them, because I don't like to see kids sick, especially my little siblings. It's not pretty.
Fantastic. Lariah, in closing, what's the goal that you have for yourself?
Same thing. I like helping people a lot, and I want myself to, when I grow up, to continue helping people because, you know, I don't know, I just love helping people a lot. And, you know, I don't like seeing people like, I don't know, I don't like telling people no a lot, but I don't know.
Awesome.
My biggest thing is to help people in the future and stuff.
Love that. And we're going to see that as you do that during the course of the year. As we get ready to close, I know, Mr. Brown, we're going to get a closing photo, but as the closing music plays, our closing quote is, "When I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, when it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid." By Audre Lorde, and she's a writer, feminist woman, librarian, and civil rights activist. Again, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid. With that being said, thanks for joining us today on 93.7 The Ticket, Bigger Than the Score. We're going to take a group photo if you're watching online or watching the stream. So everybody's getting ready to smile. We're going to capture the screen here. We'll see you next week. Hey, remember, you got your ticket. Keep going. Smile.